Hello, my name is Alex Perron, and welcome to my TED Talk on outdoor classrooms. This presentation is part of a Genius Hour project. What is a Genius Hour, you might ask? Well, it is 1 hour of independent study once a week on a topic that is interesting to you. It starts with your passion. It starts with something you're passionate about, something you want to look at, something you want to dive deeper into. And you start asking yourself questions like, how can I do this? How can this be different? What if we did this? About that certain topic. Once you narrow down to a specific topic, you begin preliminary research, determining if there's enough material, and if necessary, you might have to change your topic. Once settled on a topic, you decide on an end goal, implement a program, a poster, resource like a website. The options are limitless. Now that you have a goal, what is going to determine you are successful? Define that product and then get after it. When I followed these steps, I began thinking about what a classroom is. If I asked you to close your eyes and think about a classroom, how would you describe it? A chalkboard, a teacher at the front, rows of desks facing forward, 4 walls. That's likely what you'd say. This bothered me as there has been changes made in classroom organization as far as desk placements and groups, but no changes in the setting itself. I started to question if the traditional classroom was outdated. Learning can happen anywhere, but is there another space that could facilitate learning for a class better? If a class was to use alternative environments, what benefits and consequences are present? How would lesson plans transition from a classroom to an alternative class space? I realized I was asking questions around a central topic and decided that is where I should focus my research, on how can a classroom setting increase learning potential. Growing up in a rural town, I believe I experienced more outdoor learning than somebody from a more urban environment. The elementary school I attended had a large forest next to it that we used frequently for science class, and the high school I went to had a large central courtyard full of gardens, a water feature, and benches to sit on. When discussing the age-old debate of nature versus nurture, learning environment affects the nurture side of cognitive development. The majority of research in this area has been conducted in preschool children. A couple of studies done in 2017 showed that preschool children who engaged in regular outdoor play benefited in nearly every form of development. This translated well to primary special education students, resulting in a positive shift with regards to group cohesion, tension and anxiety, and physical self-perception. Seeing the benefits young students were experiencing in outdoor play and education, I focused my effort towards the effect teaching outdoors has on students. In my research, I was able to find 3 different general styles of outdoor classrooms. Some schools are extremely fortunate and have naturalized areas on school grounds as shown by these pictures. The red area highlighted shows a forested area adjacent to the school. This is actually a picture of my elementary school from my hometown. Other examples of a naturalized area could be a pond or a marsh with a walking trail or boardwalk. It could also be as simple as a field that is not maintained and is left to be naturalized. These examples of an outdoor classroom provide students with the most authentic experience. Concerns with this style of outdoor classroom may include maintaining proper classroom management while allowing students freedom to explore the environment. Other concerns of open water may restrict safe use of the space. This style of outdoor classroom is beneficial for teachers too, as this style of classroom can be easily adapted for cross-curriculum use. On this slide, you will find examples of lessons that could be done in a naturalized outdoor classroom. Most importantly, notice how different subjects are represented from math or science. Other curriculums are indirectly used here, such as language to communicate in these assignments. Other assignments could include creative writing prompts using the area as a setting or using the perspective of an animal found in the area. Visual art curriculums could be used to draw the area in a certain perspective the student finds appealing. A common architectural element to many schools is a courtyard. While many go unused or remain patches of grass with walking paths, converting these areas to outdoor classrooms is a much better use of space. Suggested features would include naturalized gardens with plenty of local plants, accessible walking paths, maybe a small pond or aqua feature, trees, benches, and maybe picnic tables. An example in Oregon included a half a dozen turtles as well. Being artificially created, planning can be done so certain areas are suited for specific subjects or lessons. For example, objects like animal skulls or fossils can be strategically placed so they can be found and mapped by students. Pictured above is an example of how a natural courtyard fits into the landscape of a high school. The following picture also shows what an example could look like close up. On this slide, you will find examples of lessons that could be done in an outdoor classroom within a courtyard. Like before, there are plenty of possibilities for multiple subject areas. The key to using an outdoor classroom effectively is to be creative with the lesson plan, encouraging students to be creative as well. Creative writing is one exercise that has endless possibilities with easily grasped prompts. When the courtyard is designed and specific objects are placed, they can be used to tell a specific story to help bring a history lesson to life. The third example of an outdoor classroom is perhaps the most universally attainable for any school. These consist of organized spaces outdoors for students to gather as a class. The examples above are circular seating or tables and chairs made from natural materials like tree stumps. Setups like these are relatively cheap and take very little footprint on the school property. A fantastic idea for this style of classroom is to hang a chalkboard or whiteboard from fence posts. Other materials like clipboards for students to write on could be kept inside plastic totes inside chests or sheds to keep them safe from the weather. These spaces can be used just as traditional classrooms are, and virtually all lessons can be transferred to these kinds of outdoor classrooms. Applications specifically for this style of classroom are listed on this slide. However, like I mentioned before, lessons can be moved outdoors with little adaptations for these spaces. The circular seating encourages a strong classroom community by focusing attention on the speaker. This helps students learn how to be a respectful listener and is applicable to the oral communication expectations in the language curriculum. With the current climate of education, rapid changes between in-person classes and virtual learning, outdoor classrooms offer excellent opportunities for social distancing. Designated spaces on school property are not necessary as outdoor education can be done anywhere, even on concrete or tarmac areas of the schoolyard. The general consensus from researchers and teachers utilizing outdoor classroom has been positive both for the students and the teacher themselves. Teachers I spoke to about my research said that although there was extra time and planning needed to be effective, it was worth it to enjoy the benefits in student engagement and retention. In conclusion, I believe schools without existing outdoor classroom spaces have wasted resources within school grounds that are easily accessible. Teachers should be encouraged to take professional development training on the uses of outdoor classrooms. Equipping teachers with the knowledge and material required to be successful is crucial to the students' enjoyment of the experience. Teaching in a more hands-on environment encourages constructivist learning, allowing students to advocate for their own learning. This also applies to field trips. I'm sure we all remember how enjoyable field trips were. Imagine that excitement in your class every day and how those classes would be much more meaningful. This style of learning is now not a new concept. There are schools completely designed for constructivist learning. For example, Montessori schools or forest schools where learning is done completely in nature. Hopefully I've given you a new perception on what defines a classroom and some great ways to transition your class to the other exciting settings. Thank you.